back to Make It Fun. My name is John Bryant, and today I'm going to show you how to make a post light that you can use to line your sidewalk or possibly put into your planting bed. So for this project, you're really not going to need too many materials. You're going to need 4x4 pressure treated posts, and you're going to need some 1/2-inch conduit. And I got both of these items at the big box store, Lowe's, not a sponsor. And you'll also need lights, something like this. I got these off of Amazon.com, not a sponsor. I got 16 of them for I think around $100, something like that. I've already made one prototype and it looks great. Other than that, you'll need a few screws and some tools. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is cutting my metal conduit. I've got a metal cutting blade set up in my miter saw, and I'm going to cut 15 pieces at approximately 15 inches each. One end is going to be angled so that I can drive it into the ground a little bit more easily. So let's get to cutting. So as you can see, if you mark it out, it's pretty easy to cut them pretty quickly if you have a metal cutting blade. Got 4 stakes here. One end is angled, the other end is flat, so I can pound it down into the ground. So I got my stakes cut. I've got 15 of these ready to go. After I got them cut, I took them to my grinder and got rid of the burrs on there so that I don't cut myself while I'm working with those. Next thing I'm going to do is take my 4x4 post and I'm going to cut 16 pieces out of here. I only need 15 of them, but I'm cutting out 16 pieces because that's what it works out to. I've got a stop block set on my miter saw at 11 7/8 of an inch. That way it takes into account the thickness of the blade. And I changed my blade out to a 32 tooth general purpose construction blade. So all I've got to do is take my 4x4, run it up against the stock block, and make my cuts. That's what we're going to do. So I've got all 16 pieces of my 4x4 post cut to equal lengths, approximately 11 7/8 inches. And I'm going to mark the center point of the one end of each of these pieces. Now if you don't know how to do that, it's real easy. Let me show you how to do it. Take your post and set it on the end. Take a ruler, go from one corner to the opposite corner and draw a line. Go from the other two corners, draw a line, and where those lines intersect is the very middle of your square. I'm going to take an awl, put it right in the middle, and just make a little hole there so that it makes an easy starting point for my spade bit. As you can see, I have the post mounted on the table of the drill press. In the drill press, I have a 3/4 inch spade bit, and I'm going to drill down into the post as far as I can with the spade bit so that I have a hole to receive the conduit that will be pounded down into the ground. So let's get started with that. One down, 14 more to drill out. Well, we've got our posts. We've got holes drilled in about it's about 2 1/4 inches into the end of the post. The way this is going to work is we're going to take a stake, drive the stake into the ground, take the post, mount it on like that. Now, we could stop right here as we've got it. We could pound these into the ground, we could put our post on, and we could mount our light on there, and you could be done with it. But we're not going to do that, of course, because we want to make it look a little bit better, and we don't want these spinning around on the posts. So the next thing we're going to do is take each one of our posts that we have made. And we're going to go to the drill press, and about the 2-inch mark, we're going to take a 1/8 inch bit and drill a hole through here to connect up with the hole that we just drilled. And what that is going to be used for is after we put the stake in the ground and put the post on the stake, we can then take a 2-inch screw, deck screw, go through that pilot hole that we're getting ready to drill, and drill right through this, and that will keep the post from spinning while it's in the ground. So we're back at the drill press, and we're going to drill the holes in here about 1 3/4 inch from the bottom end where the hole is. Pretty simple, we're just eyeballing where the middle of it is. And you can feel when it meets up with the hole right there. So all the holes are drilled, and we could leave it that. We could put some stain on there, mount the light on there, and we'd be good to go. But you know, we're not going to leave it like that. We are going to miter all 4 edges of the top side of each one of these posts. So as you can see on my miter saw, I've got it angled over at 45 degrees. And I'm not going to set a stop block or anything like that. I'm just going to take the corner and line it up with the edge of where the blade goes through down there, and that's approximately a 1/2 inch. And I can do that on 3 of the 4 sides, and then I kind of eyeball the 4th side. It'll look all right. Nobody's going to be inspecting it. So what I want to do is mark where I'm going to drill my holes to be able to mount the light. On the back it shows that the holes are spaced 5 centimeters apart, so I know the width that I've got to mark. And I want to come down approximately 1 1/4 inches from this bevel. So I'm going to come down 1 1/4 inches, make a little mark, take my square, make a line across there, and then I'm going to center up. This is a ruler that has centimeters, so I'm going to center up and mark out 5 centimeters. Then all I have to do is drill my holes, and that's where my screws will go. The other thing that I had to do was to make sure that I'm doing that opposite of the side where the hole for the screw that's going to be going into the back to lock this down to the stake. Make sure you're doing it on the opposite side. So all the holes have been drilled, and I went ahead and put a couple of screws on so that I could show you what it's going to look like eventually. The light rests there on that. You pound your stake into the ground, put the post onto the stake, drill it in from the backside using a screw so that it stays in place, and that's what it's going to look like other than staining. That's what we're going to do right now. Stain these, and then we can get them put in place. Well, the stain has dried and everything's looking good. So while I've got everything set up like it is, I'm going to take some 1 1/4 inch decking screws, and I'm going to drive them into the holes that I pre-drilled before I stained them. I'm going to snug them up kind of tight so that the light stays on snugly when you put it on there, and that's how it's going to look. So I'm going to get that done on all 15 of them, and then I'll show you how to install them. Well, as you can see, I have placed the posts down where I think I want to set them for good. I simply stepped off. I think mine are about 7 steps apart in between each one of the light posts. You can get a tape measure out and measure it off if you want to, but I thought it ended up looking good enough just stepping it off. They're fairly evenly placed, and I'm pleased with it, so I will show you how to go about setting them into the ground. The first thing I need to do is clear some of the rocks out of the way. You might not have rocks, you might have some mulch in there that you need to clear out. So I got to move the rock out of the way. And then I want the post to be about 1 inch away from the edge of the sidewalk. So I'm going to put my post there, and then I'm going to take my stake and place it about where the hole will line up and allow the post to be about 1 inch away from the edge. So the last thing I want to do is line up the front edge of the post with the sidewalk so that it is parallel to the sidewalk as much as can be. And then I'm going to take a screw. And remember, we pre-drilled some holes in the back so that we could drill straight through the wood and right into that stake. So that's what I'm going to do, and the decking screws actually go through pretty well through the piece of conduit. So there we go. Post is in place. Now all you have to do is take your light, put it on the 2 screws, and it's done. Well, as you can see, I've gotten all of the light posts put into place. It took me probably 1.5 hours, and that's including a little break I took in there. I think it turned out looking pretty good. It's pretty simple to do. I just drove the stakes into the ground, made sure that they were plumb, put the post onto the stake, screwed the screw through the backside, through the wood into the post, and then mounted the light to the front side. That was it. If it's not raining later on this evening, I'll come out and take a video of what it looks like when it's dark and the lights are on. Well, thanks for joining me. I know it wasn't much of a how-to episode, but maybe it gave you some ideas on some alternative lighting that you could add to your planting beds, or if you're wanting to line your sidewalk with lights. If you would, hit the subscribe and the like button. I'd appreciate it very much.